is up, dudes? I'm just getting acclimated here. Not used to being up this early in the morning lately. It's been a fucking insane week. Catching up on things. I gotta get this fucking camera arm out of my way. We got Kayla coming down this weekend. What is up, Ginge? Yeah, we got Kayla coming down this weekend, hanging out. She's working like a day show, and then she's coming over here to stay for a couple of days. We're gonna get some work done on Crimson and Alabaster, some work done on Hellseekers. She's gonna be signing all of the City of Rot posters, sealing them with a kiss for all the boys that got a copy of that. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Maybe giving me a little power mullet. Who knows? It's gonna be an interesting weekend. That or my old roommate Joe's sister is gonna give me a mullet at the end of the month, but we'll be getting that mullet back in gear before the end of the year, boys. Rex, we're all hoping you got to nail that Cougar pizza delivery lady. The whole team's pulling for you here in the bullpen. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well. We did the podcast on Sunday. Got to riffing on good old Afghanistan and talking about all sorts of insane shit. And it'll be old news by the time it comes out next week. New episode of the podcast, I think, went up. Did that go up yesterday? Yeah, went up yesterday. Quomancy. That was the Cuomo one where we really went off. That one is up now too. So I think we're what are we at now? Yeah, we're at 18 episodes. About to break into 20 next week. Crazy stuff. I may abort that mission. She was immediately like, yeah, my babies could use a daddy. Oh! Yeah, man. I'm not going to go into it too much, but we had a big Hellseekers announcement over on the Patreon in a week or two. I'll just make that a free post. It doesn't really have anything to show in it, but it does have the first page of inks from Jeff on Return to Camp Rainbow. And I got to tell you, it's looking fucking awesome across the board. I've seen the first 6 pages so far, and we're getting into the colors very soon. I just have a bunch of shit to figure out with City of Rot. Every time something starts to go good, there's some new COVID restriction in our state that is really fucking me right now. And because the printer we're using is in state, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, and they've been really iffy with getting back on contact with us and can't even tell us when they're going to be in the office right now. But things are coming together. Camp Rainbow will be coming out page by page as it's colored and finished. Like I said, you guys will be getting those previews and stuff of inks. Maybe sometimes it'll just be a panel. Sometimes it'll be a full page like it was yesterday. But we're going to start dropping all of the like fully colored, fully lettered pages one by one as they come out. It'll be really cool because it's sort of like our own little webcomics corner of the internet that will inevitably be printed into physical versions, whether it be at Alterna for the superhero stuff or Death Curse for all of our horror nonsense we got going on that isn't part of the shared universe. What is up, Ashen? Good to see you. My first stream since you left Twitter, and you're already in here, so it's good to know it's not going to be too hard to get a hold of you. I screenshotted your email the other day too, so I got it so I can hit you up. The other thing I didn't mention in the Hellseekers update on Patreon, which I'll get into a little here real quick, is we're figuring out how we're going to do the letters stuff the letters pages early on, I should say, not the letters. The lettering is completely fine. We'll have that handled. The letters pages, because I want it to get as close to classic comic books as we can possibly attain. The whole overarching pitch for this series was always image era superheroes learning how to be golden age again. That was the overall idea. Can we come away from the muscle era that I grew up on and grew up loving and absolutely adoring, even though it was violent, ridiculous, and over the top, and can we synthesize that into something that's sort of a new modern golden age that isn't just senseless violence all the time and tells a story and builds these characters up and gives you an ideal to strive for again that we haven't been seeing at the big two in a long time. And with Hellseekers, there's going to be so many characters. Overall, it's a team book with a lot of team stories, but we're going to be branching off tons for standalone issues, whether it's a team up with one member of the team and some new hero, or a couple of members of the team going off on their own little side mission to take on some new villain. There's a lot going on. I can guarantee you'll be seeing Voidwalker showing up early on in the series, as well as potentially some names outside of the Ransomverse. It's going to be a damn good time, but we're basically cracking down and making good on our word finally after having to shelve this book essentially for the entirety of COVID, which has been one of the most painful experiences of my writing career, was having to just sort of ice Hellseekers for 2 years. The book cartoonist kayfabe called the comic book of 2020 that was going to change the landscape of comics forever, and then never came out. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So much better off of Twitter. I'm happy to hear that, dude. There's a lot of people that leave and then feel like they're missing something and they need to come back. My daughter has been very sick, so I've been away even beyond Twitter. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope she's back on her feet soon and feeling better. I can't even fucking imagine what that must feel like. That's part of the reason I don't have any kids of my own, is I dread being responsible for another human, let alone myself. But best of luck to you and your family, dude. I hope she is feeling better soon. That is always shitty. I stress about all my nieces and nephews, especially with all this nonsense going on. The Cougar just sent me a text. Oh my God, she's a hot local mom. She watches the show. I don't know, Rex. You might have to wife it down. Sorry, Ryan just DM'd me some hilarious shit. That dude's been up all night like a madman. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other shit. I'm still chipping away at the screenplay. I wanted that shit done like a month ago, but it's been brutal, man. I don't want to rush it, and there's some things in it that are some fat that needs to be trimmed. Things that need to be added, tweaked. I'm trying to keep it very sparse on dialogue. I want it to be more of a moody movie where the audience takes from it what they will, and not so much a movie telling you how to feel about things. It's kind of like, here's this fucked up scenario, you figure out what the hell I was trying to say about it. Cut out all that marriage talk. Yeah. Was it, who's your most problematic wood? Anyone. Rex's most problematic wood is the cougar that keeps bringing him pizza. The girl from DoorDash that drops off fucking Cracker Barrel for him every weekend and fucks my whole weekend up. Curses! Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is we're going to be bolstering the Patreon big time. I know I've been saying that for like 6 months now. But we didn't expect to get this house and do this move. I had sort of given up on it, and it fell into our lap. So it came out of nowhere. It sidelined a bunch of shit, and then we got new COVID restrictions and all this nonsense, which threw a big curveball and everything. Like not basically being able to do a physical release in Salem at Harrison's this October again, unless everybody wants to get vaccinated and only see maybe 100 people because they're trying to shut down all of the tourism there, which I'm sure won't happen. People will still show up and they won't be able to stop it. But I just don't want to deal with that fiasco in general. I'd rather just sell the shit online, get it to the people that want it when they want it. Maybe we'll do a campaign or something because we do have a bunch of awesome books in development. Maybe do like a #1 bundle for all these cool series that all these different creators are doing. And you'll know they're books that they're doing that they own. It's amazing. People creating it own at least fucking an equal portion of the rights. Shouldn't say at least, they'll own an equal portion of the rights. We basically contract out for like letters and things like that if I'm not doing it. You haven't gone to bed yet, have you? Actually, no, Nick. I went to bed at like 9 last night. I'm wide awake right now. I'm getting everything in order. I need to hit you up after this. So what I owe you will be squared away soon. I'll say that without getting into it on here. Do you want to come in, dude? I don't know if you're working right now or not, but I can shoot you the link if you want. Can't Kill Cade 3 is soon to be passed off to get colored, I believe. 4 got extended. 2 comes out at the end of this month. That's been an arduous battle itself, but it's all coming together now. And then after Cade wraps, all of that comes out and you guys are all caught up and up to date. That's when we'll be able to start dropping Hellseekers at some point. I'm hoping like early to mid 2022 if Pete can still fit us in, but obviously no one gets top billing at Alterna. It's an equal fair shake for everyone. So I got to go through the submission processes like everyone else and hope there's still room in the lineup. If there's not, it'll come out at the end of the year or whatever, but it'll still be getting backlogged weekly on the Death Curse Patreon. You guys will be able to read it over there page by page as me and Jeff are finishing it. We've discussed it a lot. We went back and forth, and I really think we're sticking with the original plan of just doing very, very simple classic colors, if not just like straight up flats with a great palette selection. I'm working the day job. All right, that's what I figured. I know you're like a adult ass human being. Tried to go to bed early, but I had a stomach ache from too much pizza. Oh man, I don't have it from too much pizza, but my stomach's been all over the place lately. Like I go from being like a functioning alcoholic to just like completely dry and fine with it. I have this weird fortitude where I can just like stop doing things at any point in time. Like get addicted to cocaine and just quit it on a whim sort of thing. But it always manifests in some sort of gnarly stomach ache for like weeks on end where like we're now, not only am I cutting back on drinking, we've been eating a lot healthier and a lot less red meat all the fucking time. Cause I'm just like, you know, what'd be banging tonight? Another steak. I don't want my heart to explode in the next like 5 years. So I'm trying to get a little bit better about shit. But that's a common problem for me too, as I'm pounding coffee and smoking cigarettes. It's a good time, but swole is the goal with this next year. We're gonna cut down and make more comic books in the long run with Nick Welch too. I guess the easiest way, it sounds like negative. I guess pejorative is the word I'm looking for. But like staff colorist, resident hot boy, who's going to be coloring on a lot of the Death Curse stuff, the stuff that will be colored, I will say. And it's going to be a damn good time. Not all of it is colored. Some of the guys are coloring their own stuff. I should say some of the artists are coloring their own stuff. We got Secret Variant Club, which is a thing where we're basically operating as a publisher because I can't take submissions right now. I'm too busy with my own shit. I hear all the horror stories from other publisher friends and Pete and stuff like that. Pete's obviously a publisher friend, but he's like family at Alterna, and I hear all the stories from him. I don't want to deal with submission guidelines, let alone actually reading through the submissions and everything and dealing with the legality of all of it and having to cover my ass for all of it. So what we're doing with Secret Variant Club is basically tracking down artists that we really like who have their own book, some really cool series, hitting them up with a deal where basically we do a one-time print run of the book. It's a limited print run. The amount of the print run is released to everyone. So say we do 500 or 1,000 copies of this book. Maybe it's a collected edition of someone's book. Maybe it's a whole new series altogether. But we're going to publish this. I've been calling them micro runs. So it's a limited run. There's not going to be a reprint unless the artist wants it. And if we do a reprint, it'll be a whole new Variant Club cover or something like that. But basically, it could be a reprint of an old book, but it's reprinted. We make sure the lettering is top notch. Basically, we bring it. If it's not already there, we help these smaller indie artists bring their lettering and everything, all their game up to the next level, get it on a level where a bigger publisher would consider it and wouldn't be turning away from little things like some shoddy lettering or some weird coloring or some bad formatting. We basically help them get an awesome physical release that looks great under their belt. We get them comp copies, and as we sell the book, they get a back-end payment after all of it's said and done. It's sort of like the Image deal where we take the 20% to cover all the distribution and work and everything, all the shit I'm going to have to do, and then the other 80% goes to the artist. So they make a profit off the sales of the physical books that we sell at conventions, online, and stuff like that through the Inevitable Death Curse website. And they also get, I think we decided early on if we do 500 books, we'd send them 50 physical copies to have on hand for conventions and stuff like that. Obviously, they sell those. They make 100% of the profit. Those guys can sell them however they want. They can hand them out to friends or whatever. That's immediately written off for them. The other 450, we take to conventions. We put on our website, subscribers, stuff like that. That's what we're inevitably building towards, where I'd love to do quarterly releases where you get, say, the new Camp Rainbow issues, the newest issue of Crimson and Alabaster, because Crimson and Alabaster could be 1 year of releases, 4 quarters, an issue each quarter. Kayla and Mateus on Kayla's debut book, and it's a fucking awesome sort of slow burn, suspenseful horror western, dealing with some really cool stuff. That was a test run for Kayla's debut book. I sort of took a concept that I had been wanting to get to for a while, and we fleshed it out together, and then she's running wild on the final script with it, and it's looking real nice. You guys saw a cover for it, or you might have seen a cover for it a while back. We showed a peek of it on here. What is up, Jake Tvister? I might be saying that wrong. T. Vister? I don't know. Welcome. Good to see you. Just hanging out, ranting here, trying to get through all the stuff. Carl, what's up, my dude? Do you want the link? This was sort of an impromptu one today, but we started having you in here, and then I got busy with the God damn it, Ryan, go to bed. Then I got busy with the move. Twister, like Twister. Okay. Oh, perfect. I thought it was like German Twister. Got my forked tongue coming out. Yeah. So lots going on, and we're gonna have Nick's awesome colors on stuff. Hellseekers is going to be through the roof. Yeah, Nick colored the Crimson and Alabaster cover. Actually, let me see if I can get it up on Dropbox real quick. I always forget I can do that stuff for you guys. I think it's under the sea. Yeah. So yeah, so this is the cover. It's about, without getting too into things, the series follows a ex-prostitute and ex-slave sort of joining a ragtag posse to go find an oil tycoon's kidnapped son. It's been kidnapped by some outlaws and brought out into a bad place. It's sort of this alternate telling of history where the frontier West was a whole lot more fucked up than it already was. Share this really quick. Yeah, Mateus Villalaba is the artist on the book and absolutely killed it here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more here. Yeah, we got the two main characters here, our ex-prostitute and the albino ex-slave. There's a whole big cast of some really rad characters. Mateus is a young up-and-coming artist from Argentina as well. Just a rad kid making some fucking awesome stuff, and he doesn't really look like anyone else. And then some of the monsters in the frontier West. And obviously Nick's fucking awesome colors over it, making everything look awesome. It pairs really nicely with the Mateus newsprint cover that Mateus and Nick did for us for City of Rot. It's going to be a damn good time all around. Like I told you, the timeline is forever shifting because we're very much a garage band. We don't have some big money man behind us or anything. We're not a big company. We're a bunch of indie dudes doing our own thing with a bunch of other guys. We might do campaigns for this eventually, but I'm kind of figuring out private funding behind the scenes. That's where the screenplay stuff comes in, and why all you Patreon guys know more about that than the other dudes, and why I'm kind of weird about on here. Yeah, I'm going to be going for a little bit, Carl. Let me get you the link really quick. Fucking what is up, Critical Blast? Chimera, good to see you, dudes. Chimera, I think we need to get you. I don't know if we have you scheduled, but we need to get you on for an interview soon. I know Kayla mentioned it a while ago, or did we already interview you? I've been all over the place with this move, man. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting people, and I haven't seen you here in a little while. That's how scattered my brain is. I remember, I think it was Paul. I'm not going to say his last name, but this dude, Paul, that got some stuff off, some commissions off of me a while ago. I had completely forgotten I sent him his package and then freaked out for like 3 days that I couldn't find it here. And, ended up hitting him up, and he was like, dude, that thing came in weeks ago. Okay, yeah, we haven't gotten you on already. We definitely need to get you on then. Now that things are freeing up more, Kayla's on vacation end of this month, and we're pretty much booked up until then. But after she gets back from vacation, we got a couple people lined up, and then we'll get you in there. We're basically going to have them like every Wednesday night now. For the most part, sometimes Thursdays. Is it possible to book an interview in October? I have some fun in the bag. October is super packed for us, but I'm not going to say no. It might still be a possibility. So just reach out to me or Kayla on Twitter. Or I think the email might be in the video description on here now, but been having some issues with the video descriptions on here lately because YouTube's thing isn't rendering. Or encoding, I guess, whatever. I don't really know. I've turned into a fucking boomer. But but yeah, we will get you guys on for sure. She's loving that, and she's trying to get more and more of them going. Hey, Pedro, we also have animation stuff very early on in production. It will probably take forever because I'm involved in it and I have so much going on. But Pedro's going to be animating some bits from the podcast for us, which is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Kayla told me in DM I had to get in touch with you, but I won't hold it to you if you're busy, dude. Oh yeah, man. Just like shoot me a link to your project page or whatever. I don't know if you follow me on Twitter already, Jake. I feel bad the guys who haven't like come in here often. I am like legitimately brain damaged, so I have to like write a bunch of shit down and keep like a log in my phone at all times to make sure I get back to people. One too many traumatic brain injuries. But if you hit me up on there, I'll get you into my log and everything and make sure we get you in somewhere. October right now is looking like we're probably going to have to like double up some nights or something like that. But I also, for October, wanted to do some drawing stuff with the dudes and actually start getting more, I fucking hate saying content, but different stuff on the channel. So whether it's going to be Inktober or what, if they're just short ones midday or something, I don't want to fuck with Kayla's setup too much. So maybe I'll take Wednesdays off, from the Inktober stuff and just do it like 6 days a week or something. So I have a Facebook page called The Comical Hunter. I don't use Facebook at all, but I'm going to throw that up on the screen really quick. All you dudes should definitely check that out. Ashen gets some choice polls. He does crazy giveaways. Not only does he cover comics, he covers very similar tastes to me and the dudes when it comes to horror movies and things. Big genre film guy like us. Gotta send Carl that link. I've also been reading through the preview copy of his book that he sent me, but I told him I wanted to give it my undivided attention, and I haven't really been able to. We had a huge fuck up with the pods that were shipped to us when they were supposed to be staggered, and it sort of messed a bunch of shit up. But I'm in Norway, so I will be up late when you guys run shows. Oh yeah, for sure. That is quite the time difference. Let's see your log. Yeah, I just sent Carl the link. I can't show you my log, Rex. We'll get demonetized, and you guys will know all my secrets. You'll know all the inner workings of what's going on here, even the stuff we haven't announced. I'm going to follow Jake back real quick here. I'm sure he probably needs to be able to DM me. Twitter sucks like that. Yeah. I'm going to scroll through your shit after I'm done and check it out. I always love finding new artists. I feel like I might have seen some of your stuff recommended to me before. But welcome, dude. Good to see everybody. Yeah. Fuck, I'm going to have to probably go turn my AC on in a minute. Sun's coming up and it's getting wild out here. Must be one big log. Yeah, it's gigantic. It's more of a tome. I might have to step away for a moment. We got cabinet people delivering cabinets for our kitchen today. That was the other big thing. I'll wait for Carl to get here and then I'll just, perfect timing. What's up, dude?
What's up?
I was going to say, I might have to step away for a moment really quick, but no. I don't think I'm here yet. Man, I've got to read through like the first 10 pages of Deathsworn, and the art alone is fucking insane. So I'm so stoked to look through the rest of it.
Oh, thanks. That's like I'm most worried about that part. Well, it's like it's weird.
I remember you saying that because that's like the older pages as you were starting into the series, but it still looks fucking great. And knowing what it develops into, and I personally love seeing that as also an artist myself. I'm a writer first, but I also love drawing. Like getting to see, especially dudes that are way better you and whose art you love, see it like level up throughout a book. The only thing better than that is like seeing it as an ongoing and seeing every issue come out. Like that's always been cool to me, is you see these guys that start out like Sean Gordon Murphy, where even like 10 years ago his stuff looked nowhere near what it looks like today. It's really rad, so I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Well, I kind of cheated it because I went the first like 3 pages are all new. So technically, it's like a weird mixture. I went back and I added 3 pages. Like that whole intro is completely new with the big double page spread and stuff.
Yeah,
that's all.
Dude,
I did that like way later.
That 2-pager is fucking bonkers. Yeah, just like an insert page.
Yeah, well, it just in the original idea for as an issue, it just had you open it up, and on the left hand, like inside front cover, there was just an intro that set up everything. And it literally opened with Deathsworn stepping out of the arena doors.
Yeah. I might have to do something like that with Hellseekers, just because it's like so many characters and so much setup early on. Otherwise, the first issue is just like a lore dump. And I don't really want to do that for people, because I like, for every person that hooks, it's probably going to turn off like 10 people who are just like, what the fuck? This book doesn't have anything happen in it. It's just setting up a bunch of characters.
Yeah, I'm almost like, it's way more interesting just to even like tease lore as it goes.
Yeah, that's,
you know,
I learned that from
like, this guy did a fucked up thing.
Yeah, Pete has given me like so much great advice over the years of working with him now and publishing Voidwalker and Can't Kill Cade, that like every little bit I just sort of stored away in my head, and the ongoings I've read over the years and stuff like that, what I liked about them, what I didn't like about them. And that's why we decided with Hellseekers, it's like, all right, we're going to have there's an overarching story that I came up with years ago. It's 100 issues deep overall. Like by the end of it, we could end at 100 with like a succinct ending, and tell all the stories we wanted to tell, and be like really happy with pretty much all 100 issues. And that was including, some standalone sort of crossovers where, maybe it is issue 13, but it doesn't fit perfectly into the chronological order of things. We jump around, there's throwback issues and stuff like that. But that's why we decided, like, oh yeah, we can hint to things in little conversations and go back to that, because the whole setup for it was this. They were a huge superhero team during the Image era, essentially, that you never heard of. And they overstepped those lines, and they did all the extreme wild shit. And now it's them learning to be like good, real Golden Age heroes again. And doing that format wise, we wanted to sort of start out where it's like, sort of feels written for the trade with the first arc, because we're setting up a lot. And then after the first 3 issues, I would say, it gets into, all right, we're a team now, and we're going to start introducing lots of new characters. And it's going to be more like those classic Big 2 books that people liked, where you're, sometimes it's a villain of the month issue. Sometimes it's moving the posts forward a little bit and advancing the story. You're going to learn a little bit more about a certain character in the team. There's some really focused issues early on. There's some awesome throwback issues with Liberator. They were referred to as kill logs originally in my notes, because we wanted to do like the kill journal thing, where we can introduce all these D-list villains and stuff that he assassinated in the past, and sort of expand out that why the Liberator is this angry old super soldier that he is, and build off of that. And then it's a world where characters aren't all the same fucking voice, which is what I'm excited about. Voidwalker and Cade are on their own distinct thing, but as of now, they sort of exist in their own little isolated worlds. And now I get to bring all that together and have these characters interacting and have their different dynamics clashing. What's up, Gerald Lang? Good to see you. We'll be getting you on for a draw stream soon. I just need to figure out when the hell we're doing one again. And Ashen, we were like blocked from that for a while. I thought it had gone through now. I'll have to check it out. But yeah, it was like limited early on. Patreon told us, because I think when he tried to sign up for ours, he wanted to pay.
This is like deja vu. Every time I'm talking to you, there's a talk about the yearly Patreon.
Yeah, he wanted to pay the annual, and that was like forever ago now. But at the time, we only had like 9 or 10 patrons, and they told us it like wasn't enough. I think it's more of a they want to see that on the creator side that we're going to be sustainable and actually like doing things all the time on the platform.
Oh yeah, right. Because if someone pays and then you like end it.
Yeah, you pay for a year and then we stop doing it after 2 months. That's the whole thing. Like, that's why at the bare minimum, we were like, even with all the busyness, we're still going to do the podcast, and you'll have, you know, an hour a week of just stupid bullshit comedy from us, whether it's our horrible half-baked takes on the stupid shit that's trending on Twitter right now. Like, if we're getting into politics, it's the most dumb guy asshole takes on politics ever. Don't take it seriously. Like, if you go into the podcast thinking that we are trying to be serious in any way, you are going to be sorely disappointed. We're making fun of comics, everything. Like, everything should be a joke. Nothing is off limits. We're there to have a good time. Past that, this is where the serious stuff happens for the most part. You'll hear hot takes from us and everything, but the Patreon podcast is like we get possessed by retarded ghosts for the weekend and we record some dumb shit. We've had guests on a couple of times, and I feel like every time they haven't really known what the hell to do with us.
That is always like a funny thing about haunted, like mental asylums. Like, they're always like sinister, fucking evil ghosts. It's never like a drooling fucking cripple ghost. Like, it's never like, oh, that's
the drooling crippled ghosts are the ones that possess me on the weekends.
It's a haunted mental asylum. It's abandoned. It's
the guys
by Charlie.
The guys that want to jam pencils in your ears.
And he drools all over himself.
You ever seen that one? Was that House on Haunted Hill? The jam a pencil in a guy's ear when the fucking inmates take over the asylum.
What?
You never seen that?
Is this real?
Yeah, I think it's House on Haunted Hill. It's a like a haunting movie from that. I forget you're younger. It's like a haunting movie from the slew of haunting movies that came out in like the mid 90s. There's a big boom with that, with The Haunting being remade. I think it's House on Haunted Hill that had the pencil stab. The only reason I remember it is because it was such a gnarly one for the time, and I was a little kid like, oh, damn. And just there's pencils all around me right now and make my ears hurt. Joe Catapano, what is up, dude? Creator of Star Circuit. Go check it out, dudes.
I don't know if this was a thing in America, but in like the UK, or I guess other like English-speaking Europe place, there was a cereal, a breakfast cereal. It's called Frosties. You know, Tony the Tiger? You guys have that,
yeah,
right?
Of course we got Tony the Tiger.
Right. So there was this ad campaign where like this annoying boy was like Tony the Tiger's friend, and he said something like cringy. And it was really cringy, and it was supposed to like capture kids or whatever. But like everybody slagged it. I remember, like, I was a kid. I remember being like 5 or 6, and we were all talking about this in school, and we were like, oh, that's so cringy, like that's so like, you know, stupid and like annoying. You know, it was like the kid was made to be annoying to get people's attention. And then somehow, like, there was this rumor when we were all kids that this child in the advert had gotten such like abuse from that ad, like from like people slagging him because he was in that ad, that he stuck 2 pencils up his nose and killed himself.
Oh God.
And it was like this fucking, and I've heard other people like repeat the same rumor.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit, I thought that was like localized.
Yeah, that's like those like playground rumors that you hear as a kid that are all made up. We've talked about this on the podcast before. Like, what was the Jamie Lee Curtis being a hermaphrodite? That was a really big one as kids.
I've heard
pencils up the nose and killing yourself, though. That's a brutal one for kids to be coming up. What a way to off yourself.
I think it's definitely some fucking weirdo kid sitting in a classroom with pencils thinking about it.
Yeah, right. It's like
And being like, this is the most fucked up way
that's
to get back to class.
such a kid way of offing yourself too. Like, how do you know it wasn't suicide? Because some child stuffed pencils.
My mom
up his
told me
nose.
I can't stick pencils with my nose. She told me to get them out. It must have to kill yourself.
All right, we found a 40-year-old man with 2 pencils lodged in his brain, right up his nose. We know it's murder, though. Grown men don't kill themselves with a pencil to the brain.
When he was 8.
Yeah, right.
Haunted by the ghost of Tony the Tiger.
If Jamie Lee Curtis has a dick, I'm gay. Yeah, that was a good one. There was what was it? Bow Wow was raped by his security guard, which was
Lady
always
Gaga having a penis. That was a recent one.
Yeah, Lady Gaga having a penis was another recent one, which was hilarious because I had a friend who went to like Christian camp with her and swears that they like diddled each other in like lesbian like finding themselves experiences, I guess. Yeah, at Christian camp. And like there's pictures of it. Like they definitely were in the same. I don't know if they fucking were fooling around or whatever, but they definitely went to Christian camp together.
That's the most innocent diddle story that came out of Christian camp.
That is like the most common, well, not to come out of Christian camp, but that's a really common story just at Christian camp. I feel like every story I've ever heard, that's like where 90% of my like religious friends lost their V card. Like parents are like, we're going to send the kids off to camp for a safe summer. And it's just like locking horny teenagers in a isolated location for a month. And everybody was like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, dude, when I was like,
if Lady Gaga also has a dick, I'm also gay. Lesbian camp. Yeah, it's in a boggy swamp.
14, we went on this school trip to, it's a place called Delphi in Ireland. It's like down the country, and there's like this, it's like this whole like camp adventure center, and like during the days you go off climbing, you go abseiling, you go do all this shit, and then like you're in this crazy like commune thing. And it was all staffed by like, I guess they have some like government grant or whatever, so it's all staffed by like by handicap, like by mental guys, you know, by the mental,
you know.
And so it's like this insane
psionics.
It's this fucking
telepaths.
Dude, imagine locking a bunch of fucking horny teenagers in a fucking dorm in like a massive commune and having it fucking like guarded by retards.
Yeah. None of the counselors have the mental capacity to even understand what sex is.
Dude, it was like it was the most insane fucking time ever. People were having raves like in the campuses. Like
if David Bowie had a pussy on straight is one of the funniest things I've seen in days. Sorry.
If David Bowie had a pussy on straight?
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know what the fuck David Bowie. On my list of things I want to do with David Bowie, I do not want to have my penis out near him.
Kiss him on the mouth is right at the top. David Bowie, handsome woman. Yeah, that just fried Carl. You don't want to have your penis out in front of. That would be weird now. He's dead.
I'm imagining, remember, you know that image of fucking David Bowie where he's a dog? I was imagining that, but instead of a dog, it's like a vagina. That's freaking me out.
Instead of a dog, it's a vagina. We've destroyed Carl. Death Sworn never came out. Carl went into hiding. He's gonna show up 40 years later with a long ass beard, still pondering vagina David Bowie.
I can't listen to Bowie anymore. This guy once said, what if he had a vagina? Guys,
I haven't stopped thinking about that.
I didn't listen to music at all, like anything related to it.
One question stole 40 years of this man's life.
I've seen some shit in my day, but that image that was conjured up by David Bowie with a pussy is just unnatural.
David Bowie's like one of the few people though where you could be like he was a woman the whole time, and I would have been like, yup.
I don't know. There is like
either
this
or.
weird, but there's this weird current day projection of like he was this weird like intersex freak for his whole career. He did that for a few years, and then he immediately became this crooner, like this wearing the suits.
Oh yeah,
with the
a
straight
lot of
hair,
people
being a crooner, being a fucking badass. You know,
a lot of people just gravitate to the early years of his stuff where he was like fooling around with Mick Jagger and banging dudes,
wearing
and then was
weird
like
ballerina fucking gear, and like
he's straight up
the show people would like fall asleep with it.
I think in one of his interviews he like banged a dude, or he said he like banged a dude and was just like found out it wasn't for me and just like moved on. He's a weird dude in the sense that he'll try anything and doesn't really give a shit what people think. So it was always alarming to people, but he's one of those polarizing artists where different people take different things and sort of cherry pick his history, even though that's what I'm saying. He walked almost the whole fucking spectrum throughout his career. So
I mean,
that's what I mean by like if it ever came out like David Bowie had a pussy the whole time, it would be like, yeah, whatever. Like it doesn't shock me. Like the guy did plenty of weird shit. If they were like, oh, he was secretly a woman the whole time, it would be just as crazy if he was a woman the whole time. And they were like, oh, he was secretly a man this whole time. It was like, all right, like whatever.
A secret woman that had children.
Yeah. It's like, it's not as insane as like the Hotep community that says like Beethoven was a black guy all along and shit like that. Like things that are very clearly proven to be wrong.
I love those guys. I love those, the black Israelites, the guys that
dress the dudes that characters. Like think my girlfriend is like a heathen monster and all this crazy shit. Like
it's insane. They dress like Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah, it rocks.
And they
still have no yearly option. I'm gonna have to email them again or something, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell it is, and I know the rates aren't like really bad on Patreon for the monthly charges, but even the like it's like 30 cents on the dollar charges or something like that is fucking stupid. Like so I'll have to look into that. But they're literally the worst interface in the world. If they weren't like the best option for that kind of shit right now, like if Substack in some way actually were like, we're an even playing field and we can explain what our platform does for creators concisely, I might consider checking that out. I went and set one up to look at it, and even being on the back end of it, it's literally just like Twitter, but you're one dude on there. Patreon, though, like I won't get updates in the notifications till like 2 days after that you guys like liked post and commented sometimes, which is why you'll see me like I either respond to you guys immediately on there or you see me respond to a bunch of shit all at once like 2 hours later, and it's because fucking Patreon is so shitty until you hit some sort of question mark threshold of patrons and how much money you're bringing in for them. And we have no clue what that threshold is, but at some point we've been told by other people that have bigger Patreons that eventually you get like a rep that actually takes care of you and makes sure your shit runs properly.
That has to be fucking big, right? Because they have so much.
I'm assuming it's like thousands of fucking patrons at that point, because like they're so the top like 5% are so fucking big now, and that's got to be where the majority of their focus is. Just from a business standpoint, I'm not I'm complaining, but I'm like, I understand why it happens, but it just sucks because it puts us in a position where like we have people like Ashen who want to see the shit behind there, and other than just like DMing him the files, I can't really fucking do anything about it right now because they're a pain in the ass. Will you go to Substack though? If Substack offered me a bunch of money and it wasn't exclusive, I would go see what it's all about, but that'll never fucking happen. I think they signed pretty exclusive deals with the bigger guys, and I don't foresee Substack being the fix-all for everything. that interview the CEO had said that the main game plan for their marketing is to funnel all the traffic from the creators' Twitters over to Substack. So if those creators spent the last 4 years shitting on fans and acting like they're making art and not a product that's meant to be consumed by a reader, then they're going to be really fucked in the end.
It's so weird when you look at some comic book creators, like their feed, because like you look at their feed and it's like it goes both ways. There's some guys where anything to do with their own comic promotion gets like no hits. No one gives a fuck about
Oh
it.
yeah.
Or like the tiniest tweet about like a political thing gets a huge amount. And then there's other guys that are like, they put out their art and that gets the bigger fucking hit. And
Like
then they put out
what is
like
it?
a little political thing, and then that gets nothing.
James
like,
Tinian the Fourth or something like that. I think that's his whole name. Fuck, that's a mouthful. I'm shocked that guy doesn't get crucified for just having like the most white guy name ever. Like
I don't know why it's like, are you the fourth James Tinian in your comic book dynasty? Like, I'm sure
I don't
all
know.
the other ones had
it sounds like
different
it sounds like fucking royalty, but
like just drop the fourth for the fucking comic book career. Keep it in your personal life.
Yeah,
like,
it's a goddamn mouthful to go by online, and that's all I know him from. I think I read like a Batman issue of his, and he had some cool ideas, but I'm like, that dude did so much shit beforehand, and it's genuinely like his nut popped on Batman, and that's what it is for a lot of these dudes. I made a big post about it this morning because I woke up to a bunch of Twitter pros having like what should just be called like the EVS epiphany at this point. Like, I don't fucking know EVS at all or anything. I've said this a million times. The dude should have a case study done on him for like what he did right with launching his own fucking series and like leaving the big two and doing his own thing. And now a bunch of people are like claiming they've figured out the key to doing that and just reiterating what Ethan's been saying for like fucking 3-4 years now. And acting like it's some sort of crazy epiphany or revelation that just sort of came to them. And it's just like, oh no, clearly all of you dudes are starting to like watch this guy's stuff or have been all along and just like waited for enough time to pass so you could just come out and do your own thing. But now all of a sudden, oh, the big two are bad, creator rights are worse than they've ever been and all this shit. But these guys still work for everybody. How many books do all these fucking creators still have coming out with the big two right now? That's still saying yes to a bunch of contracts, still being part of the big fucking machine. It's all stupid bullshit. We're in this position because of all the shitty deals creators have taken over the years, and because the idea that that thought that we just have to do it because if we don't do it, someone else will do it and cash that paycheck that you could have cashed. Is like, that's called having no fucking integrity.
Well, but it's that thing that I've never understood with, especially in comics, where it's like everybody's like, it's like this, can I have some more, sir? Fucking like walking around on your hands and knees. It's like you're an artist, like the definite, and I mean like the entire everybody who creates it, like at every level, you're an artist. Like, you're supposed to make your own opportunity.
Begging for fucking crumbs on like a Deadpool book when you could be making your own fucking character and doing whatever the fuck you want with it.
You're not like taking an offer or going through an offer, you should be making your own opportunity. Like,
you want to make a series with a fucking chick character who happens to have a penis and you don't want to hear all sorts of backlash about it? Go make your own original character. And you'll find that audience for it. I fucking guarantee it. I know there's an audience out there for all this wacky shit that's coming out. But I'm saying,
well, if you make her fucking sexy, if you make her some,
make the hottest trans character in the world, like fucking what's her name from what is like Final Fight? I think it's Poison.
Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, she's in Street Fighter, but she's originally from another one of the Capcom ones. She such a visually sexy character. Most people don't even realize she's trans, and has been trans since day one. A character created in like the late 80s, early 90s. I think conceptualized in the 80s and finally realized in the 90s. Somebody who's way bigger into fighters can clear that up, I'm sure. But a character that has been a huge hit throughout her existence and looks great, rad fucking character, great moveset in the games, big following for people who like to play as her too. But it's like, because the character was created from inception to just be a cool character and just happened to be this thing. Like, I don't mean thing in like a pejorative way either. Just happens to be this certain, yeah, right. Worst fucking.
She's not a thing. She happens to have a thing.
Yeah, like fucking Voidwalker. I did not pitch that to Pete as, here's my big strong black superhero. I said, this is what the character is, and like you're gonna see the pages and find out that he's an African American man. I didn't have to say that in the fucking pitch because it doesn't really factor into the story. It does in a sense, but the story will show you that, and you can take from it what you will, like any good story should do. If your comic opens with like, I'm a black guy in a world that's tough for black guys, I'm like, okay, well, now you're just telling me shit. I wanna see this world unfold for me. Like, show me this guy's struggle. I don't need to be told that it's hard. I want to see that it's hard if that's the case. And there's a place for all of these stories. But again, the ham-fistedness is shitty. It makes me want to make trans characters and do these other characters that don't just fucking suck. Like,
I'll retroactively make a character trans, and that's one. It'll be like Tatiana has a penis.
Yeah, that'll go over great with everybody. James Tinian also created Something Is Killing the Children, Nice House on the Lake. His strength is actually horror, but personally he's kind of a biatch. Yeah, he's part of the group that runs Razor Blades magazine too, which is basically, you know, they had a money man. All these all these little comic book publishers that keep coming out with a modest lineup and then immediately tripling their lineup the next year. It's because they have like a money guy behind them, or someone in the group who makes a lot of money on their books because they work at the big two and then they fund it. And once you get a certain amount going, it's very easy to self-fund something, but the threshold is a couple of thousand people reading your books. There's a reason that Razor Blades magazine is basically the price of an Indiegogo and a quarterly. It works, but they keep it off of Indiegogo and Kickstarter, so you don't really see that. And somehow the comparison isn't made that the price tag is very similar, and you don't get as much cool stuff with it as you would with an Indiegogo. But where his strength is horror and everything, he made his name again off of big IPs. So it's like, that's why I understand at the end of the day, a lot of these creators are always going to want to work at the big two, because the big two will tell you, go out, make a name doing your own thing. Eventually they'll call you to work on one of the big two characters. In reality, you can't really make a name until you work on one of the big two characters. So you can go out and make a bunch of stuff and just, it's really just proving to them that you can hit deadlines and like actually make more books. But it's like a shitty cycle. Since the Image exodus, the big two aren't made to build up creators anymore. It's made where you make a livable paycheck, but now they want you to be very much a cog in that machine. You're not going to advance past a certain point. You're just going to hit some, if you're lucky enough, you're going to plateau at some big rate, and that's what you'll make, and you'll just be doing someone else's stories for the rest of your career.
Well, I think the industry has shifted to the point where it's not even about it's 100% about headlines. Like, that's it.
Oh,
even
yeah.
Even when you see indie books, it's like a celebrity makes an indie book so that they can get headlines, and then they can use those headlines to sell the fucking property as a film rights, and then they get a job out of it. So they pay some fucking dim-witted comic pro to make a shit comic book about them, and then they fucking end up selling the film rights to it, and they get another $1 million job where they fucking have to make that film now. And it's the same thing with all these fucking characters. Robin being gay, No one gives a fuck about that comic book. No one's reading that fucking comic book. No, there's no dialogue about that. But my fucking dad, when I saw him, he fucking came into me and he goes, "What the fuck is up with Robin being fucking gay?"
Yeah,
Because he
no,
fucking sees headlines.
yeah,
And
that's the thing too,
only
was
reason for it.
what really broke that threshold, at least what I can remember right now, is the first thing that really broke through into like the mainstream curtain of normies seeing comic book shit. And that's why you're completely right. That's a big part of the reason they do it now, is they think like that good publicity is, or like any publicity is good publicity. So the first thing that really broke through for me was when like my dad commented on Batman's dick being in a comic. And like that wasn't even a big deal for me. It was like whatever, like Batman's dick was bound to come out if they were doing rated R Batman comics. All of a sudden some idiot was gonna think it was a brilliant artful idea. And fucking that happened, and then that book sold like crazy in the early weeks and sold on the secondary market on eBay and shit for insane money when it sold out.
Announced that they were censoring it.
Yeah, and then
like,
DC reprinted it with the dick all in shadow, but there was a run, the first print run, where it's just full blast Batman's dong, barely shadowed, and it was a big ordeal to people. And then they realized, oh, if we can just get anything to be a headline like that, and I said it a couple of weeks ago, that's why books aren't written for an audience to like it anymore. They're writing for an audience that hates it. It's like they took all the trigger word shit that they were trying to protect themselves from and just figured out a bunch of shit that triggered the people they dislike, and now they pack their books with that to a literal fault, to where the audience they should be making the book for it doesn't even read it because it's contrived trash and just stupid bullshit that is made for the people that they know are going to hate it to just hate it. Like, it's not like earnestly made to be enjoyed by anyone. And that is the fucking issue with comics right now, is most shit is just made to piss someone off and make a fucking headline. And it's successful in doing that. But I never thought that comics was going to turn into like the fucking nightly news circuit.
I even see it with these creators, because so that woman that wrote that Robin book thing, like, so there's every like level of shill fucking comic book show on YouTube, on the internet, on everywhere, and some of them have fucking good followings and some of them are real open to people. It's like you could reach out to anyone and start marketing this book, you know, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months in advance. I don't know when you gave the artist the script, you know, but it had to be at some point before any of this came out. And you don't see any of that. Instead, what you see is, you know, comes out, headlines Robin gay, and then suddenly the only place where you can hear this person's thoughts, hear their creative process, hear them interview it, is on these huge, like, multinational media companies, like the Sun, this like big fucking shit, Daily Mail, like
that's what the CG guys don't realize, is it is the step two, the crowd that dislikes it and then takes to YouTube to talk about it and has these huge audiences, is you guys are Streisand affecting so much of this shit, like so much of it. And I know you make money on it, but like, god damn, like we would see a lot less of it if it wasn't talked about so much. You don't fucking starve a fire with gasoline.
Dude, it was like fucking He-Man. Nobody fucking likes He-Man. A fucking show comes out, and suddenly everybody is like the biggest fucking fan of He-Man, and fucking,
yeah,
like,
it was gonna bomb. It was gonna bomb no matter what. But guess what?
The show is forgotten about. The show was out for like 5 days.
The show is forgotten about, but all of the people that worked on it just got jobs because of how many heads they turned with headlines over a week. And that's the whole thing. At the end of the day, most normal people don't realize that like the launch week in pretty much any industry, or the first 2 weeks, depending on what it is, like movies, music and stuff like that, the first 2 weeks are the most critical. And most companies basically don't give a shit after that. Like, that's what sets the bar for them. That's your like, oh, you nailed it on sales. Yes, we're going to work with you again. Or these other companies are now going to desire you. And sometimes the release does so well that it almost prices that company out of being able to work with that creator again instantaneously. It's happened on many occasions in all different fields, but that's why I'm saying the property can be absolute shit. If it's absolute shit, starve it of oxygen. You don't fucking talk about it the whole month leading up to it and get people curious. If you want to talk about it, don't fucking talk about it at all until it drops. Do one review and leave it alone. And that's how it should be. But when you perpetuate it and you push it endlessly, the shit is just going to happen forever and ever, because these guys get a full fucking news cycle of people screeching about how fucking stupid it is. So the people that dislike them go and check it out, and it sees somewhat serviceable numbers, and mixed with that and the fucking controversy overall, Kevin Smith, this is like, a lot of this shit has revitalized the dude's career. Remember when he did Cop Out and he was never going to do a big studio movie again because Bruce Willis was such a cunt to deal with? And then, oh, he's back. It's not a studio technically because it's at Netflix, but he's doing big budget studio production shit now. And he's doing a big fucking animation. And I guarantee you we're going to see more and more from him now, because it gets covered and people know Kevin Smith can get on Twitter and fake cry, and it's going to set off a huge audience of people who shouldn't give a shit that this hormonal middle-aged man cries all the time on the internet. It's insane. Yeah, I like how Ashen Jackal does. Ashen Jackal is one of the few dudes I can still watch a review from, because he attacks it from a straightforward point, and he'll even touch on some of the controversy usually and say, where he stands on it. That's how it should be. If you can't like acknowledge the other side of things like reasonably and civilly, then you're not really reviewing anything. If you're just like, this is fucking awesome and nothing anyone else says can possibly be true about it, like a review is really just like your side of things, which is why when I've talked about Pig and stuff, I've said like, this is what I took from the movie. You might watch it and get a completely different experience about it from it. But it was the first thing to strike a chord with me in a really long time. But we're perpetuating this fucking shitty like existence we're all living in by just talking about the same dog shit stuff over and over again, which is why like the podcast now, if we watch a shitty movie, we talk about it on one episode. If we can keep making jokes about it, we will here and there, but past that, it becomes a joke. It's not something we're fucking talking about every night for 2 weeks straight. We're not starting a whole community built around hating fucking Star Wars movies and stuff like that. To each his own. Do what you want, but at what point do you realize, the mainstream does fucking suck. We were right all along, and now let's take our energy and use it on something constructive, making our own fucking substream that doesn't suck complete dick, and focusing on that and making it cool to where maybe, if all that collected effort is joined together somewhere down the line, we just become the mainstream, and these fucking idiots are starved of all the fucking oxygen they need, and they can't make dumb shit anymore. They're phased out of the fucking the power roles to do things. I think we're about to start seeing a lot of that in a lot of different places on a lot of different levels. And a lot of people just sort of, like we said a year ago, silently backing away from comics. Some a little bit louder with like GoFundMes asking for money to pay their rent, because another thing we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, when you was fucking depressing.
You get a better job in any industry, let alone comics. You get a better gig making more money, and you immediately decide to live outside your means and scale up your existence.
That's what you think it is? That
will fuck you in any job. Comics, which has fucking zero job security, that'll completely fuck you.
You think that's what she did? She just like started
without
spending all that movie money, and then
not even trying to be a dick. You're a trans person. You have hormones and all this shit to pay for. You're like your hormone replacement therapy, whatever the fuck you got to do. You're maybe saving up for surgery or having already paid for surgery. There's a lot of shit that goes into all of that, and then there's the aftermath you have to pay for, and all of the meds and shit that come with that. So the reality of being a trans person is it's I'm sure stressful and very fucking expensive. Like what your feelings are on it, like religiously, politically, whatever, all that aside, it's financially not fucking viable to invert your genitals and become the person you want to be.
I have zero problem with it as long as you're not like a fucking monster. If you're like,
don't force it on anybody. Do whatever the fuck you want. Like we have trans friends, gay friends, everything. Do whatever the fuck you want. But if I have to hear about your new guy penis every day or whatever, like it's gonna get annoying at some point. But the whole thing for me at the end of the day is it seems to be a lot of comic creators started to get more steady work, like Mags. She started getting work all over the place, had a fucking TV deal, had a show on Sci-Fi. Dude, not even attached to a comic. Give me a fucking Sci-Fi deal with one of their middling budgets. That'd be like a dream right now. Make something that's not as hokey and corny as a lot of the shit they do, that's just like straightforward and violent. That'd be fucking rad. But like a lot of the stuff, like I said, is written for an audience to actively dislike, not for this audience to like. And it's like, instead of attacking the people you hate with your art, how about you focus, target the people you love and appreciate with your art? Because that is like pretty much the only difference between CG and anti-CG is CG is actively targeting their audience, whereas the mainstream is actively targeting, at least the people that are running it right now, actively targeting CG and the people they dislike and disagree with. So that CG, the guys who are essentially the tastemakers of comics right now, dudes like your boy Zach and shit like that, who they review your book even favorably, like in the slightest regard, and all of a sudden, people are checking out your book. And then if your book's complete dog shit, there's a whole community of these guys that will go out and buy a copy just to review it and rip it apart on their channel. And that's still sales at the end of the day. So it's like, it's a very like host-parasite relationship, symbiotic relationship. It's a back and forth that CG dudes really have control of now and could just fucking cut all ties and starve it out pretty fucking quickly. Comic news websites haven't been doing the work and getting the word out the entirety of them existing. I would love to see the actual numbers from comics news websites.
But comics news websites are like, I even remember this. Like years ago when I started doing stuff, and even smaller comic news websites, and I'd give out like my PDF and whatever, and people would read it, and then they would just like, their review would be like the most fucking inane, like dog shit, fucking idiot paragraph you've ever read in your life. Like it would just be like a barely sum up the story, no like the art was good, writing is good, like no critique, like nothing, like it's just bullshit. It's just, how can I just upload this as fast as possible?
It's a bullshit factory that they think runs itself, and that's basically what the comics are. The comics news websites are. I noticed early on in fucking high school with websites like CBR, it was like, oh, these guys give even the worst fucking Marvel and DC books great reviews all the time. At worst, they get like a middling review. They rarely get into what's really actually bad about them. And then, oh, look at all the advertisements on the websites. It's all the big two advertising books. So it's like, yeah.
Well, not anymore. If you go on a comic book news website now, you're most likely going to have the FBI knocking at your door because all the fucking ads on the thing. Like it's like the worst fucking shit.
Yeah,
ever.
well, now because of what is it, like Google AdSense and everything, you can just do targeted ads of whatever. So they don't need to like sell ads privately anymore. But back in the day, dude, it was, oh, get your news from us, but then also know the only way we're able to pay the people who write our shit is because Marvel and DC advertise on here and pay us to do so. So it's like, okay, you give them enough bad reviews, Marvel and DC could just stop advertising on your website, and you guys aren't a website anymore. That's how all of these websites got big. That's like part of Gamergate, like why that all exploded was because of that. Like, there's no journalistic integrity. I think a good bit of it was something came out about like Call of Duty basically like paying for good reviews and other companies paying for better reviews in game magazines. So it's like you throw all journalistic integrity out the window, and the ideals that people thought you held and you stood for, all of a sudden you say they mean nothing. So why the fuck should people trust you and continue to follow what you're doing and what you're making? It's insane. Very short series, so I hope it is included. I think it's only 4 episodes. Ad blocker, bust. Yeah, it's just insane. But artists, creators seemingly lived outside their means. That's why we're about to see a lot more spite too with these Substack deals and stuff. I'm shocked we haven't been seeing more of the like, where the fuck is my Substack deal hot take, and I'm sure we'll see people making jokes like that in the near future, but I can guarantee you they're not jokes.
Be like someone would ever just be like, I am owed this. I've worked in the comic book industry for 1.5 years. I'm owed a Substack deal. It's like, make something and fucking bring it to them. If not, it's just a Patreon.
Here's your Substack deal. Your shit's so good, Substack's free to sign up for. Go start posting some of your shit on there. Get your newsletter going for free. See if you can build up an audience, and then like, they'll pay you to do a paid one.
What they're sort of trying to do as well is like webtoons and that shit is like apparently super popular, but they don't really like the Western comic book format, the way the pages are laid out, the way the characters are drawn, the lettering. It doesn't really fit into that way. Like they always do these on webtoons. It's always like these super long scrolling.
Yeah, no, it all sucks. The format just needs to be regular comics.
It's like just bullshit soap opera fucking.
That's why I said if we went there, it would just be a backlog of the pages that we're already doing on Patreon, and it's pointless.
Yeah, but Substack is, I think maybe a bit of it is trying to present themselves as that version of that.
Well, my issue with it too is I didn't see one name where I was like, oh, that's like an edgy, like outside the box creator. It was just like, oh, here's like the top 10 people we've been seeing for the last 2 years. Everybody got a good deal. Scott fucking Snyder, who everybody praises as one of the best writers to ever come out of DC, who writes like the best Batman stories. I have openly said 1,000,000 times, I can't fucking stand a single one of his Batman stories. If it was not for fucking Capullo's art on it, I never would have even looked at those fucking books.
And Capullo fucking gives up.
Capullo is fucking recently phoning it in on those books. It's almost like he's just aping from himself over and over again. A lot of the same fucking shots. You basically get like juice pages that are really cool where it's like all of a sudden there's a great panel and then it's fucking whack across the board. And then Snyder got a huge fucking Comixology deal for fuck knows how much. I didn't even read the article for that. I just saw the covers for all of them, and it's some of the most forgettable shit I have ever seen. And all of the books sounded like stuff like he had a long weekend, had a couple drinks, and just wrote up like log lines for a bunch of shit that he didn't write yet.
I thought the name of the book says He Had a Long Weekend, because that does sound like
One of them was like We Have Demons, and it looked like a bootleg of Voidwalker. It was just the
fucking one with
it was like
Capullo,
body horror shit all over it, and I was just like, God damn it, dude! Like,
dude, I fucking Greg Capullo, man. I'll follow him on some stuff. I'll follow on some stuff where like less of his like.
He's just I've realized like no matter how much I love him, he's just a corny old metal dude.
Yeah, that's the thing, and like that, I was always fucking laughing when they did like Batman metal and Dark Knight's metal, and I was like,
Oh,
this is dad rock. This
yeah.
is not metal. There's nothing about this that's metal.
Dude,
It's all
kids love
fucking
chains, man.
colorful
Kids love
and
chains.
it's that shit fucking dad rock shit. It's
You
like
see,
you
did you
think this
see
is
that?
Slayer. It's like this is Oasis, you fucking losers. Like
Did you
what the
see
fuck are you
Kids Love
talking about?
Chains, Carl?
Kids love chains? Oh yeah. That's
It's like Donnie
Donnie's.
Cates and Ryan Stedman's company together.
Kids love chains. It just sounds fucked up. If you don't know
Dads
anything about
rock.
comics, it sounds fucked.
Yeah, you named your company after a fucking Todd McFarlane quote, which is like, it's a great quote from Todd McFarlane, but it's like more corny dad rock bullshit. Like, it's a
But
bunch
it's also that
of
thing that
hokey ass
comics suffer
Canadian dude who
from.
used to wear fucking Canadian tuxedos everywhere. He's not exactly like the fucking end all be all for what's badass in the world. And yeah, it just sounds weird as shit.
But the comics have this like reminiscent problem. Like they can never like analyze something and move on from it. Like comic book people haven't gotten over Dark Knight Returns yet. Like they haven't like gotten it out of their system. They're still
people
like
still bitch
fucking
about
trying to
Watchmen
analyze
all the
it.
time, dude.
Yeah, and like it's like every fucking guy who's like, hey, it's
The
a quirky unknown.
the
superhero
go-to
thing.
argument is that Watchmen is the most misunderstood comic book ever created, to the point where we basically got a bastardized like college thesis for a follow-up TV series for it.
It's sort of fucking
Whereas like
hacky, man. He
that
has like
that
Nietzsche quotes like at the beginning
well,
chapters. That's like shit you do when you're 14 years old,
and
and you're like
that
absolute
whole
deep
fucking
bro.
that whole fucking TV series was basically like, nobody understood the Rorschach character. That's what this is about. We're telling you that you didn't understand the book you read and you loved so much. It's like, maybe people just want to see more of this world and not be preached to for bullshit.
I didn't love that fucking shit all that much, man. I was like 8 years old when that movie came out, and I wasn't able to go see it. But because I was in the comics, well, because I was in the comics, I fucking heard, like, I was like, oh, watch, like, I didn't consciously know about it, you know? And so I went out and bought the book because you could fucking anybody can read books. No one's gonna stop a kid from buying a book. And I remember like reading it and like going to school and everything, bringing it to school and reading it. And I was like, fucking guy, give me fucking Tomb of Dracula. This shit, this is the worst. Like, this comic fucking sucks.
Yep.
It's shit. I want fucking Gene Colan Tomb of Dracula. I don't want this shitty fucking grid, boring ass fucking pacing.
See, I enjoy it for what it is, but it was like, that was the first real like deconstruction of superheroes, and then it was all that for the rest of time, because whether people like to admit it or not, 99% of the industry is like super Alan Moore fanboys and have just been regurgitating his ideas for the last like 20 fucking years. And it's getting old. Like, even The Boys is still just sort of a deconstruction of superheroes. That's why I was like, we wanted to do with Hellseekers kind of the opposite, like a reconstruction. Like, we know these guys have the capacity to be the worst of the worst and cross the line. Can they come back from that now? And I can't think of many comic book series that are doing that anymore, where it's even like a redemptive arc. It's just always kind of like I'm fucking these 6 checkboxes, and today we're beating up Nazis.
Well, yeah, well, the thing with comics that always like I really can't stand anymore, and it's kind of just like I've lost my whole taste for a lot of comics, is just the pure lack of scope. Like, yeah. I know that whatever you're doing now, you're going to do it for 5 issues, and then it's all going to reset to some middle ground, and some other prick's going to come in and do the exact same thing. And the characters have no drive, they have no purpose, they have no philosophy, they don't evolve. They just have some fucking guy. Like, it's all like they're not proactive at all. Batman's a toy on a shelf waiting for some guy to knock him off the shelf. And then that's the story every fucking time. He has no purpose. He doesn't have anything he's trying to do or build or evolve or change. Bruce Wayne doesn't have anything to build or do or evolve or change. It's just there's no scope. And then you fucking get in the manga and it's like, oh, I'm going to follow these characters for like years of a fucking creator's life. I'm gonna see them go through bad shit, good shit, change.
Manga
struggle.
also treats it in like almost the opposite direction, where they're thinking about, you know, the chapter that's immediately in front of them and making it as amazing as possible, and knowing that they'll be able to do the next one if they do that, and the one after that, and that it's just going to continue to grow readership if they're always striving to make their best work, which is why those guys don't mind making leaps and bounds from issue to issue or chapter to chapter, however you want to call it. Like, fucking, it's again cool to see those guys develop over time, but like they're actually consciously thinking about their audience and trying to bring more readers in. Like, you want to make the coolest book possible. You want lots to happen. I mean, there's fucking mangas about just like baseball teams, but it makes baseball the fucking coolest baseball has ever looked. Boxing mangas, there's fucking mangas that are just slice of life and romance books, but it makes it all the most heightened version of whatever that genre is. Like, you're never gonna love like you love in a manga romance. Like, it's
the guy who does Vagabond, that manga, which
one of my favorites. It's sitting on my shelf.
Amazing manga.
I would butcher the guy's name if I said it out loud. That's the only reason I won't say it.
But he took like a hiatus, like a long hiatus on that book, because he took it to a place and he was like struggling with what to do with the fucking characters and had to push them forward.
Yeah,
because it got so dark for him. That guy, right before he did Vagabond, he was doing a basketball comedy series, and he was doing it with just as much fucking commitment as he did Vagabond.
That's how it should be. That's the other thing too, is these guys have no problem with just Inuo. I know Inuo, but
Akihiko Takawaka.
Oh,
sorry.
Karate noises. Yeah, that's horrible.
That's funny.
Huge fan on fucking. That's that longevity too of like, if you do your own thing, there's a lot more personal attachment to it, a lot more pride in the work. You're also, a lot of those guys are working with a whole team where it's a group effort that they're all like invested in like that. It's not just like a job for a lot of them, which is really fucking cool.
Did you mute by accident or on purpose? He's taking a shit.
Sorry, Beth had to say something to me.
No, she's giving out. You're being too loud.
No, she's taking off for the afternoon. Yeah, it's just comics doesn't have that, because everything is looked at as just like another job, another paycheck, a deadline to get through. Most people don't have the security to know they're going to be brought back for the next issue, most cases. And that's why it makes no sense that creators aren't jumping ship to do their own thing, because it's like, if you do issue 1 of Deathsworn, Carlo Rowe isn't going to pull Carlo Rowe off of issue 2 because sales weren't as good as he wanted them to be. Like, it's your fucking book at the end of the day. And that's why, like, why aren't you doing it? I tell every creator I talk to, everybody I've ever hit up about, like, working with, one of the first things I usually ask them, if I'm not already aware of them, is like, are you doing your own book? Are you already working on something? Do you have pages to show? Like, I want to see pages of art from dudes doing the stuff that they love. That gives me a better idea of what you're capable of. If I can see pages of you completely unchained, working in the genres that you love, drawing the kinds of characters you like to draw. If you draw a bunch of shit that you think I want to see, probably neither of us are going to end up happy at the end of that.
But I see so many guys like that, and I'm always wondering, like, why are you like, you're trying to get into the shittest club you could ever belong to?
And there's a lot of,
like, why are you not doing what you want to do? And the reason simply is they fucking have no taste. Like, they just have this fucking thing of like Batman and Green Lantern and Spider-Man are cool, and that's what I do. And
That's part
they
of it.
trace David Finch, and they draw Batman, and they draw Batman with like every issue that David Finch has ever done open up, and every shot they do is a David Finch shot, and they don't think about backgrounds, they don't think about story, they don't think about environment, putting story into your background, into your environment, into the rubble, that there needs to be fucking story in the rubble, and they just draw Batman and they go, oh, I need to draw a city to make it look good. They do a flat fucking city in the background. Maybe they might put a blimp in if they're being creative. And it's like, that's the majority of amateur comic book people. Like, they don't have that thing where it's like, what is my taste? What's everything I want to do?
Manga and comics are very easily comparable. They were also at one point in time very similar, down to the being sold on newsstands all around.
Yeah, that's like saying like you
just
can't
saying that
compare bande
America,
dessinée to fucking comics. Like,
yeah,
it's
just
the exact
because
same
America
medium.
failed at integrating it into its culture, it's a huge part of its culture for a lot of people. It's just not part of the culture as a whole. It's not ingrained in the culture like it is in Eastern countries, but again, they're literally the exact same format. Just one is read the opposite direction. They are still sequential storytelling through images on paper. They will always be comparable, but anime and American animation is also very easily comparable. I don't know how you could say that.
Most of fucking American animation is fucking Japanese animation.
Yeah, like it's again, where it's different is the culture around the work, where, like we've been saying all along, over here it's just a paycheck. There's not any like actual love of the art form. Over there, creators will literally like basically work themselves to death making something that they fucking love to do, and put themselves through insane schedules because they enjoy it.
It's badass. I got
Or
one
just feel compelled that they need to do it. I can't even think of like a legitimate like tortured artist in the American comics community anymore that doesn't just come across like a dude whining on Twitter.
Yeah, I gave up that whole tortured artist thing like years
Like
ago. It's such a fucking
Kelsey's probably the closest thing I can think of. Kelsey Shannon, just chain smoking in his house constantly, doing his own thing, and he's not really tortured. He seems to be having the time of his life
he's not
most
tortured
days.
in the way, like he's like tortured in like the
Delighted
soulful
artist.
hillbilly. Like, yeah, I imagine him wrestling crocodiles when he's not fucking drawn.
He's a torturing artist.
Yeah,
torturing beastly wild animals in the backwoods. But yeah, it's culturally different, but they're still very similar formats. There was a point in time where they were all sold on newsstands, and comics were kind of ingrained in the culture too, especially during wartime. And fucking, it's not now. It's been phased out. It's not respected, and it was like this a while before even all the identity politics got stuffed into it. It wasn't just the identity politics that did it. That has just sort of been like the final nail in the coffin, where it's just like, oh yeah, it's a complete joke now. They're basically just political propaganda mags. All over again, but in a different direction now, where it's not selling war bonds or trying to get your kid to go off and shoot Nazis. It's
when I was a kid,
a whole new. It's trying to get your kid to wear a dress and fucking hate their grandfather. It's weird.
When I was a kid, when I found like trade paperbacks and stuff, I was into that shit like so much more than like issues, you know. And
tortured artists need real mental illness. Yeah, exactly.
I would pick up a trade paperback in a store, and I'd like flick through it, and like the artist that I like is on for like 3 issues, you know, and that was like the whole story. And I'd be like, I don't fucking want that. And then I'd go to like the Marvel Essentials, and there'd be like Tomb of Dracula and fucking like like 3 volumes, all Gene Colan art, all like Marvel Woman or whoever the fuck wrote it. And I was like, that's like, that's it. That's the shit I want to see
Yeah,
and
dude.
follow and go through everything.
You can talk to like newsstand guys up in New York that have been around since like back when comics were on newsstands, and their businesses were never booming harder than when we were selling comics on the streets. But that was also back when comics were affordable and the shit was awesome. Like if comics were if Alterna could get like on legitimate like New York newsstands and stuff, Alterna would make a fucking killing if they had regular books. But that's when the output actually like merited that. Like the comics at Marvel and DC were great. They got put out on newsstands with different covers sometimes, different barcoding and everything at the very least, because it was sort of a weird distribution setup from what I remember. But
yeah, it is kind of weird how they really when the industry turned away from newsstands, they
dude,
really
newsstands moved so many fucking units, and fucking the industry turned away from it because of the profit margins they would have been sacrificing. The industry thinks, oh, we can sell on this like better paper now for lower margins, because according to them it's cheaper than newsprint, so now they can print on lower margins. It's technically shittier quality by most fans standards, and no one really likes it in the long run, but they can charge more for it, saying that it costs more to make for whatever reason, which makes no fucking sense. If they will get online and say it's cheaper to print with than newsprint, but then for some reason needs to cost $3 more.
Yeah, but they're so over. Like, you can have the comic stores, you can have the news fucking stands. You put out the fucking shitty floppy ones in newsstands. If it's good, the people are gonna fucking pay for the higher quality glossy trade paperbacks later on in the fucking stores. What you do though is you're cutting down the entry fee. So I have to fucking, if I want to know if I want a 5-issue fucking trade, I have to buy one issue that is fucking like a quarter of the price, a third of the price of the fucking trade sometimes. So I'm like, oh, so this is like, why would I waste that? Like, why would you? And you're not getting the kids who are gonna
half the people of all ages, from businessmen in suits to kids, were reading manga on the train ride. And again, it's because the quality of content is on par with other entertainment industries, and everything over there is hitting good fucking benchmarks. Like that's the overall idea, is the quality of goods is good, and then they're plentiful and they're all over the place. And I've had buddies that have gone over to Japan and spent very little money and come back with a fuckload of Japanese manga, like awesome, just fucking like basically like the single issue equivalents of a comic you would get on newsstands over there, that you can literally just buy on an open air newsstand on the side of a road in like Tokyo or something. And it's all sorts of shit, like gnarly Street Fighter stuff. Fucking Ed Piskor has a couple of videos. I think he did a big Tokyo trip like right before COVID happened, like 2 years back now, where he came back and he showed a video of a bunch of shit he bought. I think he said he spent around $100, and it was like 40, 50 what look like manga trades, pretty much. Like they're all in Japanese, so he can't read them without a translator. But yeah, there's quality stuff that hits different age demos, different like genre demographics. Like they're covering all their bases. That's why you see these people read this. And then the stuff is promoted everywhere. It's in like, that's where it is ingrained in their culture, and where it comes into play is you see these guys everywhere. For them, manga is in fucking advertising on TV. It's in billboards and shit all over cities. It's in shop windows everywhere. It's literally like a part of the fabric of society, but it is comparable. It's just there's a failure on the American side of things, where they just want to market everything and make $1 off of you. They don't care if it's like a part of your life and it's ingrained in the overall fabric of our society, because they don't give a fuck about our society. They just want to make money. That's the whole point of this rant today, was that you shouldn't even support the shit anymore. Like I'd suggest, if anything, if you want to do something real extreme, move to Japan and get involved in their culture. Seems to be the answer today.
I don't think you could.
That's
I don't think that is possible.
Like Marvel should have at the beginning of every movie, the first fucking 2 minutes should be every muscly, roided out, stupid bastard they have ever hired to make a movie with them and be a fucking superhero, holding a fucking comic book in their hand and talking about reading comic books. Shoot footage of them going into actual fucking comic book stores, real stores with real fucking addresses and phone numbers, maybe even put them in the fucking trailer and cut something together that shows a comic book shop in every fucking state where people can go get comic books. Maybe expand and do it all around the fucking world so people still know these shops exist. Because as a comic creator, I hear every day, holy shit, people still make comic books? It's insane. And it's not that Americans don't appreciate comics like they do in the East. It's that most fucking normal Americans don't know that kind of shit doesn't exist anymore. My dad's old as shit, boring as all hell. If I give him a cool fucking Western comic, he loves it. But he doesn't know where to get the shit anymore. I have to like explain the shit to him and give him the rundown. If it were out there and accessible, it would be everywhere. There's one grocery store in town that sells comic books on a little spinner rack in the magazine section. You know who I see grabbing books off of it all the time? Old ass dudes. Old ass dudes who seemingly their wives passed and they're all on their own now, or they never had a significant other to begin with. So they're just chilling, reading comics, because there's still fucking huge crowds of people that prefer reading over fucking watching TV and being told how to feel by a fucking reality TV show or something. I don't know if you watch TV, but it's not as good as it was even 5 fucking years ago.
I think that's one of the big problems.
It's really easy to stand up against it now, but
I think it's back to taste, man. Like, I think
it's taste and its accessibility. These things are fucking so expensive and they're hard to find unless you're already someone reading actively.
If you fucking put someone on a diet of fucking chemical American cheese and dry, awful fucking chemical white bread, they will become accustomed to that, and they will only eat that, and they will only go to find that, and they will only be used to the time it takes to prepare and fucking consume that. And then
that's that idiocracy angle. Dude, is we're just slopping ourselves down to the dumbest, lowest form.
I can't watch like modern movies anymore because like I've been watching.
Oh, that movies. We can completely agree on figure drawing.
I've been watching old movies, like not even that old, but like 90s movies and stuff. And like I'm watching trailers for new movies, and I'm like, why don't they look like movies?
But I mean,
how come they look like weird plasticky fucking like shit? Like they don't look like film. It doesn't look like anything is shot there. And I'm like, if I showed someone a movie from like if I showed someone like Desperado, they'd be like, is this from the 60s? Like if I showed a kid now. People are fucking showing kids.
There's a film grain and a noticeable aesthetic to old movies, and that's what I mean. There's no tactile love or anything anymore in any of the stuff we do. Where overseas, it is still there. I mean, it's not fair if you're not doing it like earnestly and honestly. But when you compare it at the end of the day, like manga got its whole playbook from American comics. Like the post-war surge of that kind of shit. Like, where do you think they learned that kind of stuff? And like, I'm not saying they were just like, oh, we didn't know about sequential images before that. Japanese culture has always had fucking sequential art of some form, whether it was wood carvings, scroll shit like that. But like the newsstand format and everything, they just didn't turn their back on, and they're still a functional, cost-effective society, so they still print on the cost-effective materials and resources. They just didn't forget where they came from and kept doing it. So now it's an insult if you try to pretend that American comics is somehow doing better, because it's not. And that's not what we're saying here, if that's what you're taking from it. But yeah, dude, we mentioned Pig a little while ago. Carl, if you haven't seen that, you need to watch it.
Does it look like a film? Does it?
It's the new Nicolas Cage one that the trailer did no justice at all. It's very much like a brooding character study and sort of a.
But you know when they go into like a kitchen and it's like lit. And it's like lit like a kitchen.
Yeah,
is
no,
it a
this
fucking
is
kitchen, or is it
this
like a
very
computer
much
simulation?
This very much has like a DP and a cinematographer and everybody that was on board to make like a beautiful piece of art. This isn't just another movie with like, oh, there's serviceable lighting and sound. Like everything harmonizes beautifully in that movie. The only issue I really had with it is it's sleek enough in the way that it's shot that I couldn't tell if it was shot on digital or film, because film, even today, the like 35 millimeter stock is so like technologically advanced that the grain is so fine compared to what it was like 15, 20 years ago. Even on like 8 millimeter stuff, like I'm about to shoot something on 8 millimeter soon because I want it to be nice and grainy and gross and look old. And it's still not as grainy and gross as I want it to be because film stock has come such a long way.
I'm not even saying I want a film to look grainy or gross. I'm just saying there's a difference between a film that looks like a film where people like
Hey, Peter,
capture some shit, and now it's like it like I saw this thing come up on like Reels.
Oh yeah, a lot of movies are just getting through a script now and trying to keep things as under budget as possible, and it's
to the point where like putting fake tattoos on people's wrists are like it's not art anymore. It's digital. Like,
yeah, it's just CGI.
Putting like the most basic like special effect you could ever come up with, like
I'll say I understand with that one though, because that's weirdly one of the more expensive effects to do traditionally. To do like to do fake tattoos on someone and have them like actually look good without having to be digitally touched up, those actual transfers are like hundreds of dollars. For even
so
like
you
small
think that
tattoos.
Disney shouldn't pay that amount? Disney?
Oh no, they totally should.
It's way more expensive to CG.
I mean, there's dudes like Shia LaBeouf that would probably just get tattooed for a movie because they're dumb as hell. But the art of manga are
when
appreciated.
actors get like obnoxious tattoos. Do you ever see Ben Affleck's bat tattoo?
Oh yeah, Ben Affleck has like a basic bitch tattoo.
Yeah, it's like the most like it's so funny because he has like the most typical like Jersey whore tattoo.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. Nowadays, it's not so much about talent anymore and learning the craft. It's just about like how good you can look and how easily you can be marketed.
Well, there's also no shame. Do you remember?
That's why film sucks. We're missing like the ugly side of Hollywood, and I'm not talking about the side that diddles kids. I'm talking about the legitimately just ugly people, like Charles Bronson types.
Yeah, interesting fucking people.
Yeah,
people that they
Hollywood.
Say that about,
there was even chicks that have like a rockin' body, but there was just like something weird about their face and their look overall. You're like, oh, she's definitely crazy, but she still looks good.
Models.
Like
they used to say that models, like your generic model, she would always be like your sort of perfect hot like woman.
Yeah, they're crazy hot, but just one wild feature.
Yeah, the supermodels would always be the ones that like just had something that made them a bit off, like made them a bit unique.
Dude,
like
Charles Bronson literally looks like a human face painted onto a fist. He was not a conventionally handsome man. He was considered, for the times, I guess they would call him like rugged, but that guy literally is like a dog man. But
he was built like a 23-year-old when he was like
70. Oh yeah, no, he's like 60 and looked like he could fucking tear a guy in half.
It's unreal.
I've seen all the Death Wish movies. Was it Death Wish 3 where it's just like it goes from him in like pea coats shooting dudes with revolvers to just like, there's like, I think the movie might open with him on like a beach in just a Speedo.
Yeah, I've seen photos of that dude, and it's like it looks like it's Photoshop because he has this old, crusty raisin head with wisps of hair coming off it.
Yeah,
and then he has like the body of a 20-year-old athlete.
He's another guy like Rob Liefeld, where his face looks like it was made of biceps. Like like it looks like it's just flexing in every direction.
Yeah, Rob Liefeld has that like ADHD energy. Where there are like guys that like,
oh, Rob looks like he's like permanently on cocaine. I can't watch a video of Rob without laughing like crazy. Oh yeah, no, he was definitely handsome when he was younger, but like still not like, oh, he's the knockout of the day. I don't think anyone would have put him up against someone like Paul Newman or something like that. Who was like the Brad Pitt of his time, or even a dude like Clint Eastwood, who's still kind of an ugly handsome. Like you don't see guys nowadays like Clint Eastwood that have like a big fucking mole on the middle of their face. That's just like not a thing in Hollywood. Literally, agents will be like, go get that surgically removed. They want you to be like as perfect and symmetrical as possible, or you're like some character actor with a fucked up scar on your face and a really weird look. That's the only place for like ugly people nowadays. Bronson, this is okay. So what do we got nowadays? Like Mel Gibson is still getting thrown into like old guy action movies every once in a while.
Well, Mel Gibson is so good.
Yeah, Mel Gibson's still not a terrible looking dude for his age. He's still like considerably a handsome guy. Bronson literally got like progressively more insane and just still stayed jacked out of his mind. But that's not a guy who's like nowadays you could get women to be like, that's a sexy old man.
No, there's
that guy looks like a bindle swinging hobo.
Well, now it's like we need someone to play an action adventure hero. Let's cast a 14-year-old.
Oh no, Bronson was absolutely slaying ass to the point where some woman slipped into Alzheimer's or dementia, something like that. It's like a famous Bronson story. She like slipped into dementia and was so in love with Charles Bronson just from seeing him on film that she fucking willed all her money to him when she died. It was like a big ordeal. Very cool. But yeah, Bronson was always like potato head boxer guy, and he had his head mashed in.
Like,
I think
that's built. That is the way. Like you see some posters for.
Well, yeah, he was legit like a boxer before he was an actor. Like the dude could fucking whoop ass. Like that's the whole. That's why I think he became like regarded as a handsome guy and like a Hollywood leading man. He was one of the guys who was actually like about the shit he did on film. He wasn't really playing a character. He could actually whoop ass well into his 60s.
Look at him on the far left here with the like the shortcut, like the military cut.
Oh yeah, he's
like 14 in that picture.
He's like a Navajo warrior. Yeah, like 1961. God damn. I gotta get off of here soon.
I was like, it's funny when you look at old posters. I always talk about Kurt Russell, like the posters for Escape New York and Big Trouble in Little China always make him look like he's jacked, like he's a bodybuilder. And whenever I think about those characters like Snake, I'm always thinking of him like being jacked, you know. And then like you watch it, and he's fit, he's athletic, he's fucking beautiful, but he's like a normal guy.
He's a few beers deep.
Yeah. He's enjoying himself.
Especially as Jack. Yeah, that's the everyman hero that he did so great. Like Snake is slightly more chiseled than Jack, I would say, but not by much. I think that might just be being a little bit younger. But yeah, it's like 10:30 here. I gotta get to work. Get back to writing. Thanks for hanging out, dudes. Bronson was ripped in his old age. Looked like he could bend bars. Plus, his wife was really hot. She was an actress too, I think. Yeah, I think you're right. And yeah, exactly. He was still a beast. But I want that again. Give us more fucking beastly old dudes that look like they could shred shit. That's the real world we live in, and that's what makes for better movies.
That is the difference between him and Mel Gibson. Now, Mel just looks like a roid head now. You know.
Oh yeah, Mel is
He
just
looks like a wild
looks
man.
out of his mind on roids, but that's modern Hollywood for you.
Yeah, well, Bronson there, like he just had like a fucked up thing. Like,
that's what I mean, though. I want that ugly, like real Hollywood bag. Even Bronson's body, you could tell that was a guy who got shredded from just like whooping ass and actually putting in work. Like
I was looking at young Steve Buscemi, like very young Steve Buscemi, and you're like, this guy, if they wanted to,
he was like a pretty boy from.
They could have made him this like really sweet, doe-eyed, like this cool fucking guy. You could have made him like this guy who could like everybody would just think he's like this doe-eyed, like pussy lover boy, like guy, and you could have him turn. You know?
Yeah. Someone even here has him compared to Bill Skarsgård. Yeah, he was like a weirdo, pretty boy. He had like the strange nerd guy energy too, and they just never played into that.
Yeah, so cool.
That guy from Don't Blink. Oh, wait, Don't
Stephen
Blink?
Lang? Is that
yeah,
it?
are you talking about Stephen Lang? Don't Breathe? Yeah.
Don't Blink. It's a movie about a
Stephen Lang. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Don't blink
blind dude.
My eyes hurt. Can I blink now? Yeah, Stephen Lang. He was an Avatar too, right?
Yeah,
because that one has a sequel coming out soon, and even though they kind of are just glossing over the he's a rapist angle, I'm excited to see it because it's just like pure grindhouse action movie.
I heard that they make.
I was like, I think Don't Blink is an actual movie too. That's why I was laughing. I was like, yeah, Stephen Lang's another great one. He was considered like a handsome guy back in the day, though, right?
Yeah, these are handsome guys. These are mostly old dudes. These are not guys that have like a crazy unique quality about them, like in their face or their acting or whatever.
Lang was great. If you haven't seen it already, VFW from Fangoria, Joe Begos did that like a couple years back now. It's like him, Fred Williamson, was Martin Cove? Is that his name? God, I'm going to forget all these guys' names now. Warriors dude from the Rogues. Warriors, come out and play. That guy, he's in it. Tons of people. It's a bunch of old, like, washed up action hero guys playing fucking, like, vets at a VFW, and they have to fight methed out, like, mutant junkies. It's a really weird, low budget grindhouse movie, but it's cool as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, they fucking
Lang's in that as well.
Budgets, man. Budgets are gonna have to change with this fucking.
Oh, they're gonna cut them down for sure.
I hope they do, because it's like you're just gonna. Hopefully, you get more committed people that are going to actually focus on the art of capturing shit on film and not like weird, wacky bullshit. I saw the people are that Free Guy movie. It made like something like 23 million. Like opening.
Oh, I'm gonna be sending you the screenplay script soon. It's not tied to a comic or anything. It's got my little Danzig character in it, and a bunch of other nonsense. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I wrote it as something basically the opposite of what every comic book creator is doing right now, which is writing comics to try and get a movie deal. I found a company that was interested in a script from me, and I'm just trying to sell them a movie so I can make more comics.
Which, like, I'm a writer,
an idiot.
Yeah, but like, if you're like mainly, I know you're an artist as well, but you're like mainly a writer for these things. So it's like that's your gig as a writer. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Like, but it's just weird. It's like if you're an artist, like you're supposed to create art. Like you're not supposed to wait to get a ticket to do it.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I just need to start doing shit, putting it up as much as possible. Screenplay will be going up on the Patreon soon, and I think I'm doing a novelization of it. I don't know the legal shit behind it if I end up selling the script to them and then doing a novelization of it, but I'll figure that out. I'm not too worried about it. I might just put it up for you guys to read and then have to pull it once it sells, but we will see. It's 10:30
you don't want to
here.
fucking fuck with that. That might be bad.
Yeah, I don't care right now though. It's not sold yet, so they can bite my wiener. I think I'm gonna stream later on tonight at some point. That or we might be on Rob's draw stream tonight because it's Tuesday night. I just remembered. Right? I'm not losing my mind. Yeah, it's Tuesday night. Yeah, so I'll be back later tonight. Thank you, Carl, for coming on, dude, and hanging out. It's always great to have you. I'm gonna be trying to do these more often now, and I think Kayla will be coming back on more frequently. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, dudes. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.